Brooklyn Guy does literally every job inside of the SML universe, his most common jobs being a doctor, cop, lawyer, firefighter, and sometimes electrician. But I found countless pieces of evidence pointing to the fact that Brooklyn Guy is a phony and is really just unemployed. So in order to prove my points, I need to show you guys three things: Brooklyn Guy's motive, proof he's willing to lie, and proof that he fakes his jobs. First, what is Brooklyn Guy's motive for faking all of these jobs? Well, in SML movie The Life of Brooklyn Guy, we see that the reason Brooklyn Guy loves to pretend to work is his wife, Karen. And he works to stay away from her all day because she constantly ruins dinner and stresses out Brooklyn Guy. So the only thing less stressful than being around Karen is working 50 plus jobs at the same time. But Brooklyn Guy has been working since before he met Karen, which leads me to my next point, which is Brooklyn Guy has terrible taste in women, as he also has two ex-wives, Deborah and Sharon, who previously were thought to all be the same person, but they are all different characters. In the late 1990s, Brooklyn Guy married Deborah in the Whales of Honolulu. But according to Brooklyn Guy, at the ceremony, people kept confusing his wife with a whale because she was morbidly obese.
Well, it looks like a nice wedding. It was on the beach.
Oh yeah, it was on the beach in Honolulu, but people kept running up to me thinking that there was a beached whale, but no, I had to tell them that's just my wife.
Before their divorce though, they had two kids, Brooklyn Guy Jr., their son, and Penelope, their daughter. However, we only ever see his son once in SML movie The Call of Duty Blackout, and this is because in the same episode, his son made Black Yoshi way too mad and we never saw him again. But in the episode was revealed that Brooklyn Guy divorced his wife Deborah during the upbringing of their son, as he says he needs to compete with his ex-wife's new husband, Dave.
Okay, look, I'm trying to look like a good father over here. I gotta compete with Dave.
Who's Dave?
Dave is my ex-wife's new husband. Dave's a doctor. Dave's a lawyer. Well, guess what I am? I'm an electrician, and I have bills to pay.
Which goes to show that Brooklyn Guy has been avoiding all of his wives to go work instead, which makes me wonder, why doesn't he just stay single for a while and then relax watching the Miami Heat games? But now we need proof of Brooklyn Guy lying to show that he's willing to lie to everyone just to hide the fact that his jobs aren't real. In SML movie The Secret Door, in this episode, it's revealed that for 7 months, Brooklyn Guy had his only twin brother named Does Bad Things Guy do all of his jobs for him. But it turns out Does Bad Things Guy was also doing some highly illegal things inside of this secret room. But eventually, Brooklyn Guy puts a stop to it, and Brooklyn Guy tells them that he has many brothers, but his only identical brother is Does Bad Things Guy, and that he really is a doctor and a cop and a lawyer and all those things.
Who you met in there, that was my brother Does Bad Things Guy. You see, I'm Brooklyn Guy. I got a brother, Miami Guy, and a Philadelphia Guy. I have a lot of jobs. Right?
Yeah, you're a doctor and a cop.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
you really are those things, right?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a cop and a doctor and all that. So I had to take like 7 months vacation, and I needed somebody to fill in for me while I was gone, so I got Does Bad Things Guy to take my place.
He looks just like you, though.
Yeah, he's my only identical twin.
But in SML movie Jeffy's Anger Management, we meet Me Guy. In this episode, it's joked that Rose is stupid when Brooklyn Guy says he's Dr. Me, and Rose asks where Dr. Me is.
Who's going to teach him anger management?
Well, that would be Dr. Me.
Who's that?
Really? Me? I'm the doctor? You looking at him?
But at the end of the episode, after Me Guy fixes the problem, we see Brooklyn Guy come in. But in SML movie The Secret Door, he says that his only twin brother is Does Bad Things Guy, proving that he's willing to lie to Marvin about some very minor things to keep his lie perpetually going. But where is the proof that he's actually faking his jobs and not just going to work to avoid his ex-wives? Well, we have actual evidence and just straight up logic. Starting out with an SML movie Back to School, in the episode, the police chief tells Brooklyn Guy that he hasn't finished the 5th grade and that they can't have someone who hasn't finished elementary school working for the department. So Brooklyn Guy had to go back to school for a day. I guess maybe he could get away with being a police officer or an electrician without completing normal schooling, but the fact that he's also a doctor and a lawyer really goes to show the plot holes in this. Also, in SML movie Brooklyn Guy the Rapper, we see that Brooklyn Guy comes as a doctor but also brings his brother Jonathan, and they say that Jonathan applied for an internship at the hospital.
But what's he doing here?
Well, my brother Jonathan applied for an internship at the hospital, so he's coming with me today to observe.
Ooh, can my doctor name be Dr. Pepper?
But since we know that Brooklyn Guy is a very good liar and that Jonathan is just straight up stupid, this is very unlikely to be true and just shows that it's really Brooklyn Guy pretending to do all these jobs and messing with Marvin by bringing Jonathan along. And speaking of all of Brooklyn Guy's jobs, revealed in SML movie Brooklyn Guy's Guilt, we see that the police chief is also the fire department chief and probably the chief of every other job, which is extremely unlikely to be true. But thinking about this logically for a second, I wrote down every single job that Brooklyn Guy has appeared as. And as proven in SML movie The Life of Brooklyn Guy, he pretends to work all of his jobs full time, as while he was about to perform open heart surgery, he gets a 911 call that he has to take. So if we take the average full-time salary of each of his jobs, we can find out how much Brooklyn Guy would make if he actually wasn't lying. With a total of 64 jobs, he works as an anesthesiologist, a firefighter, electrician, exterminator, accountant, plumber, construction worker, who wants to be a millionaire game show host, doctor, chef, burglar, police officer, personal trainer, animal wrangler, Guinness Book of World Records inspector, Toys R Us employee, postal delivery worker, firework black marketer, Disney World costume character, locksmith, YouTuber, stripper, fake Spider-Man, American Idol judge, eye doctor, actor, pizza delivery guy, driving school instructor, lawyer, artist, military sergeant, GameStop manager, America's stupidest home videos host, NASA space cadet, Disney World worker, dog show host, package deliverer aka mailman, zookeeper, funeral announcer, hot dog contest host, Uber driver, veterinarian, pediatrician, barber, cosmetologist, ornithologist, Jimmy John's manager, ophthalmologist, dentist, farmer, whale hunter, milkman, banker, translator for the Hong Kong Police Department, pilot, hairstylist, soldier, CEO of Burger Queen, teacher, lifeguard, rapper, Target employee, exorcist, and waiter, bringing his total yearly salary to $46,615,000 per year. If he really made over $40 million a year, he wouldn't work a day in his life ever again. He could work for a month and be set for life. But since I believe he fakes his jobs, it makes sense why he continues to work them, because he makes no money from them since it's all a scam. And even more evidence on top of that being, imagine how much training he would have to go through if he really had to work all those jobs. Just getting a doctorate is extremely hard. It takes many years of college and extra schooling, but with 60 plus jobs, it would take him over 100 years to actually become proficient in all of his work. Some of you still may not believe me and think I'm just stretching the truth, but the one thing that proves my point undeniably is in SML movie Junior's 11th birthday, when God shows Junior what life would be like if Junior was never born, and Brooklyn Guy is homeless because he can't solve Junior's problems and no one wants to hire him. And then Brooklyn Guy admits that no one wants to hire him to pretend to be a cop or a doctor, and that instead they want real ones, and that he wishes someone would need help with his stupid problems so he could keep himself busy.
Well, what happened to you? I thought you had a lot of jobs.
Yeah, I got a lot of jobs. That's why I'm living in a cardboard box next to a dumpster. No, I don't have a lot of jobs.
But you used to be a cop and a doctor.
Oh no, nobody wants to hire me to pretend to be a cop or a doctor. They want real ones. Ugh. If only somebody would call me every single day to help them with their stupid problems. But that's just a dream.
So there's the proof. Brooklyn Guy is unemployed and is really just messing with Marvin and everyone else who lives in the house. But I'm glad that he does, because he's still one of my favorite characters even after learning all these things. But let me know what you guys think, or if I missed anything down in the comments. Thanks for watching and subscribe.